Have you ever wondered if there are covert psychological techniques you encounter daily without even realizing it? These hidden strategies belong to something known as dark psychology, and people who grasp its secrets use them to manipulate and control situations or individuals. The interesting part is, many sharp and informed individuals, even those who are aware of the existence of dark psychology, often believe that this knowledge is either too complex or inaccessible to them. But the reality is, it's not as difficult to understand as you might think. In today's video, brought to you by Psychology Hub, we're going to reveal 10 dark psychology techniques that are so powerful, they almost feel illegal to know. These strategies aren't just designed to help you protect yourself from manipulation. They'll also give you the confidence to handle social situations with ease. Ready to unlock these secrets? Let's get started with number 10. The magic of because. You've probably heard the saying, one word can change everything. Well, one word that truly holds this power is because. It's fascinating how simply adding this word after making a statement can drastically increase the chances of persuading someone to agree with you. So, why is because so effective? It taps into a fundamental aspect of human psychology, the need for justification. People are wired to look for reasons behind things. When we hear the word because, our brain automatically expects an explanation, which triggers a mental response to listen. Essentially, because acts as a shortcut to persuasion. Whether the reason provided is valid or not, it's enough to make people more likely to comply with your request. It's a subtle nudge that often leads to agreement without much resistance. 9. Non-Reactivity. To truly understand the power of non-reactivity, let's take a closer look at the mind of a bully. Bullies thrive on provoking emotional reactions, whether it's fear, anger, or sadness, because those responses give them a sense of control and power. In essence, your emotional reaction is their fuel. By not reacting, you effectively cut off their supply of power. Non-reactivity acts as a defense mechanism, like a shield that prevents the bully from getting the satisfaction of seeing you upset. It disrupts the power dynamic and often leads to the bully losing interest, as they no longer receive the emotional response they crave. Psychologically, this works similarly to putting out a fire by depriving it of oxygen. Without a reaction, the bullying behavior often fizzles out. 8. Calling someone by their name. Think about how, in movies, the most emotionally intense scenes often feature characters frequently using each other's names. This simple act is incredibly powerful because a name is more than just a label. It's a core part of someone's identity. When someone hears their name, it triggers an emotional response. They feel seen, heard, and validated. This is a psychological tool that taps into a fundamental need, the desire to be recognized. Imagine you're at a social gathering and you meet two people. One person greets you with a basic hello, while the other smiles and says, "Hello, your name. It's so nice to meet you." The second person immediately creates a deeper, more personal connection. By calling someone by their name, you make them feel important, which can foster stronger rapport and trust. 7. Counting to 5. Procrastination is something we all face, and the battle to overcome it can be intense. But there's a surprisingly simple psychological trick to beat procrastination: counting to 5. This technique works by leveraging the power of quick decision-making. When faced with a task you're avoiding, your mind often creates resistance, telling you things like, "I'll do it later," or "I'm not in the mood right now." The more you delay, the stronger the resistance becomes. The brilliance of the counting to 5 method is that it breaks through this resistance by forcing immediate action. The moment you count from 1 to 5, you commit to starting the task. This is based on the 5-second rule, which states that if you don't act on a thought or impulse within 5 seconds, you'll likely talk yourself out of it. By counting, you're bypassing this self-doubt and taking action before the resistance can set in. 6. The power of silence. Humans are naturally inquisitive, and we often feel compelled to fill silence during a conversation. This instinct can be incredibly useful for uncovering hidden information. In dark psychology, the power of silence is a technique you can use with precision to get others to reveal more than they might have intended. Here's how it works. During a conversation, choose moments where a natural pause or silence feels appropriate. These are usually times when the other person may have said something they regret or revealed more than they intended. While pausing, maintain eye contact to subtly encourage them to continue speaking. The silence creates pressure, and people often feel the need to fill that gap by sharing more, giving you deeper insights or additional information. 5. Mirroring. Mirroring is one of the most powerful tools in dark psychology, and it involves subtly mimicking another person's behavior, whether it's their posture, gestures, speech, or tone of voice. This technique creates a deep, unconscious bond between you and the other person, as people naturally feel more comfortable with those who resemble them in some way. When you mirror someone, you don't just create a sense of familiarity, you also foster trust and connection. This is often enough to make someone feel at ease and more likely to open up. But the real power of mirroring is its ability to subtly influence the emotions and decisions of the other person, making them more likely to agree with you or follow your lead. 4. Familiarity breeds affection. People are naturally drawn to what they know, and familiarity plays a huge role in how we form connections. By strategically increasing your presence in someone's life, you can make them like you without them even realizing it. The key is consistency. Once you make an initial connection with someone, whether through a casual conversation, a brief meeting, or a chance encounter, you should ensure that you consistently engage with them. Whether through face-to-face interactions, phone calls, or social media, frequent exposure to you makes the other person more comfortable and increases the chances that they'll start feeling positively toward you. This sense of familiarity can ultimately lead to them growing fond of you without realizing why. 3. Foot in the door. The foot in the door technique is a classic psychological strategy that involves starting with a small, simple request before gradually escalating to a larger one. This strategy takes advantage of the principle of consistency in human behavior. When you make a small request, the person is more likely to say yes, because it doesn't require much effort. After they agree, you then make a bigger request that's related to your original goal. Because they've already agreed to the first request, their subconscious desire to act consistently compels them to agree to the larger one as well. It's all about starting small and gradually building up to the bigger commitment. 2. Slightly wrong to be completely right. In dark psychology, one clever strategy is to intentionally make a small mistake in order to get someone to reveal more than they initially intended. When you introduce a minor inaccuracy, the other person's natural instinct is to correct you. This technique works because, as they correct you, they often end up providing additional information, sometimes without realizing it. This is a brilliant way to gain insights or uncover truths that might otherwise stay hidden. The key is making the error subtle enough that the other person doesn't become suspicious, but noticeable enough to trigger a correction. 1. Start with big favors to get small ones. This technique works by initially asking for a favor that's noticeably larger than what you actually need. The person will feel a sense of obligation to help you, simply because the request was so big. This triggers the reciprocity principle, the natural human tendency to return a favor. Once they agree to the larger favor, they feel indebted to you. At that point, you can smoothly transition into asking for your smaller, actual request. Because they already feel like they owe you, they're much more likely to comply. Timing and subtlety are crucial here, as you need to ensure that the smaller request feels like a reasonable follow-up to the larger favor. If you've made it to the end of this video, comment 100% below to confirm you've absorbed these powerful psychological techniques. For even more intriguing insights, be sure to check out the recommended video that's appearing on your screen right now. Thanks for watching, and remember to stay tuned for more insightful videos from Psychology Hub.